Hardware and Garden Stores. Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Stores brings you Garage Logic podcast number 1279. Although I've received reports that I've fouled up the number of shows. It's March 20, 2024, 66 degrees on this day in 1938 and 9 below in 1965.
Oh, come on. Hail the flashlight king.
Hail you! And now from the mayor's office above the boathouse on the east shore of Spoon Lake, it's Garage Logic with Chris Reavers manning Technology Corner, Kenny Olson from the Krabby Coffee Shop, John Heidt in the newsroom, and of course, the rookie. Here is your flashlight king, fireworks commissioner, and the keeper of common sense, your mayor, Joe Souchere.
I have today's presidential candidate update. Biden has switched to some very unwieldy orthopedic shoes with the super extra rubber traction soles, so he doesn't go down. And he's wearing those
grippers,
and then he's got the good grippers going. And yesterday he was at a campaign event and just wandered off the stage to sit down and cozy up to a small child.
Start playing with her hair. Did he
sniffing and
invade her privacy?
And Mom was there. And then as far as Trump goes, the Daily Mirror is reporting that he's now dragging his right leg and gripping stair rails for all he's worth, trying to get up and down steps. And the mobility of his right leg is in question.
Did he perhaps have a procedure?
I have no idea. But
like his foot?
But my update is that we have two of these characters who are rapidly falling apart.
Much like the country.
Like the country.
The Trump thing, that sounds like a stroke.
Well, it's based on a video by Ron Filipkowski, who is a Trump critic and editor-in-chief of Media's Touch. Trump can be seen dancing on stage and moving his clenched fist back and forth while audience members cheer him on.
He doesn't dance.
But once the dance is over, Trump can be seen making his way off stage, gripping the handrail of the stairs as he walks down them, appearing to steady himself. I don't know. I think much is being made of that. But my point is, if you want to train the cameras on our presidential candidates, you're going to find them making a lot of old guy moves.
What about Bob Kennedy? How's he doing?
I haven't seen any footage of him demonstrating any physical incapacity, but Joe's got the big shoes going, and that could be helpful. And Trump will have to do something with that, dragging that right leg around. So that's. Do you have anything from the national scene on politics, Chris?
I do, Joe. Ohio had their primary yesterday.
All right.
The state of Ohio. And a gentleman by the name of Ismail Muhammad won his race in Ohio's 3rd district last night, beating
Abdirazak
Dini,
a Somali community activist who had jumped out to a small lead over Muhammad.
Muhammad campaigned almost entirely in Somali.
In the Somali language. In Ohio.
Yep.
Okay.
His campaign pitch: to represent the interests of Somalia. We have a little video from their victory party last night.
This is Ismail Muhammad. He's a 31-year-old lawyer from Columbus, Ohio. There's too many lawyers. He's now celebrating with his victors.
What?
Do this.
I don't understand the words.
Is that Somali music, I wonder?
I believe it is.
For all I know, those are the Beatles of Mogadishu that they're playing. I have no idea.
But he basically had the same campaign as Miss Omar did.
You know what that sounded like, Joe? That sounded like Somalian government music.
Yes.
Now, people are
That's
going
like
to say,
Huey Lewis of Somalia.
Our critics are going to say, well, you people are being mean-spirited. Why shouldn't a Somali win a seat? Is that for a state seat? Yeah, that's a state
I'll tell you why.
And it's all fine, except in this country, we used to have candidates who ran with the interests of the general population at heart.
Well,
we
you
now
just
have
said it.
we
Yeah.
now have candidates who run for either the transgender interests at heart, or the Somali interests at heart, or the Eastern Pacific Rim interests at heart. And in the meantime, Ohio, which was an old steel making railroad, blue collar,
Allentown.
Allen. Now that's Pennsylvania.
Oh,
Rock.
I'm sorry.
And the
Sorry.
and the whole notion of Abe Lincoln setting down his axe and hobbling off to Washington is done. That's not the way we operate anymore.
Right.
The political arena has become, I'm very comfortable in saying, being taken over by what we used to call special interests, I suppose, were evil corporations. And now the special interests are various constituent groups. Mm-hmm. And there's a great example in Ohio of strictly a Somali celebration. It had nothing to do with anyone in Ohio who might not be Somali.
Did you say he won just the primary, right?
Right.
Not the...
Well, he becomes now a candidate for the general election in November.
My guess, Kenny, is it's an area where when you get the Democratic nominee, you're almost a shoo-in. That's the way I read into the story anyway.
Somali Ali?
So like here, how everyone was fighting over who was going to get the Democratic nominee in Minneapolis. Remember all the brawls we had?
Yeah.
That's basically kind of
awesome.
The same.
Well, and now we discovered, too, that there were 3 candidates running for this opportunity to be on the November ballot. No Republicans ran in this district. Mm-hmm. So you had Ismail Muhammad ran. He beat Abdir Zagadini. And there was a gal in there, Julie Traybold, 35, a nurse and political activist from the Columbus area. She got 12% of the vote. And I can only imagine what it means to have described her as a political activist, but she didn't fare well. Everything is upside down. We have where'd you give me that story?
Yeah.
Did you give me that story, Chris?
Yeah, I did.
About the Chicago judge?
Yes, I handed it to you. That's it right there.
Yeah.
Here it is.
Here it is. We have a judge in the Chicago, Northern Illinois District Judge, Sharon Coleman, an Obama appointee. Everything's upside down, Rook.
Upside down.
You turned me. She has ruled that the Second Amendment covers the gun rights of illegal immigrants.
Hold on a second.
Wait a minute.
Suchi boy.
Hold up.
Judge Sharon Johnson Coleman ruled a federal ban on illegal immigrants owning firearms unconstitutional, specifically in the case of Heriberto Carbajal Flores, who had previously been caught with a weapon in Chicago. Johnson Coleman moved to dismiss the charges against Carbajal Flores in the case. Johnson wrote, there is no historical tradition of firearm regulation that precludes a non-citizen who has not been convicted of a violent crime from constitutional gun ownership, while finding the federal ban facially constitutional. I don't know what that means. So, in other words, if this Carbajal Flores had murdered somebody, she might have thought differently about it. Mm. But as long as he hasn't killed anybody yet, he's entitled to own a gun. It's constitutional to apply the Second Amendment to his gun-toting privileges. And this joins the many politicians who are campaigning and insisting that illegal immigrants should have voting rights. We'll take you right now to the state of Maryland, where everything is upside down. And you have a fellow there running for a Senate seat. He's the Democrat front runner in what could be one of the most unexpectedly tight Senate races this year. He's declaring his support for granting citizenship and voting rights to the millions of illegal immigrants residing in the U.S. Speaking at a candidate forum in Bladensburg, Maryland, Representative David Trone, who represents the state's 6th congressional district, argued that illegal immigrants should have the same rights under the Constitution as U.S. citizens. We need to welcome 12 million folks here now. Folks. God, I hate when they use that word. Folks here that are DACA, TPS, and undocumented. Make them citizens and move forward. They have the rights everybody should have, Trone said, referring to deferred action childhood arrivals who were brought to the U.S. as children by illegal immigrants, as well as migrants granted temporary protected status, TPS. And he goes on to say that he voted against Trone voted against the bipartisan Laken-Riley Act, a bill that was named after a nursing student who was tragically murdered on the campus of the University of Georgia. Jose Antonio Ibarra, the illegal immigrant from Venezuela charged in the murder, was arrested in New York prior to the murder, but was not detained by officials. He was also cited in Georgia for misdemeanor shoplifting in October 2023. The bill that Trone voted against would have required U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement to arrest illegal immigrants who commit theft, burglary, larceny, or shoplifting offenses and mandate that those who commit such crimes are detained until they are removed from the U.S. so they cannot break the same law or commit further crimes. He voted against that.
Okay.
Everything's upside down.
What the hell?
Everything has flip-flopped. Now, in case you want to push back against Trone, Kelsey alerted me to this. He owns Total Wine. Along with his brother, they started the
he does
the Total Wine
the
stores.
conglomerate known as Total Wine.
robbing local liquor stores.
I don't buy wine. If I did, I would make sure I no longer bought it at Total Wine.
I would go to my local. I'd go to the Midway liquor
Find
store.
Ma and Pa.
Right.
So that's a way to push back, as an example, against this fellow whose ideology is completely un-American, completely corrupted. If you shop at Total Wine, maybe you'd want to reconsider, or maybe you want to go there. I don't know anything about wine prices. Yes.
What kind of weight does he carry within their government? Does his opinion count or matter? I mean, is this just the notion of a hothead, or is this somebody that we really need to be concerned about? Because that's a pretty serious thing to say.
Well, he's the front runner in one of the tightest Senate races this year.
Well, there you go. So this is noteworthy, extremely so.
And he owns Total Wine. I looked that up and verified, unless there's another David Trone, but I don't think there is. This is the David Trone I found, lived in Maryland, and talked about founding the company with his brother. And he's campaigning for the Senate to hang on to his seat. Last month,
you're right, Joe.
Yeah.
I just looked it up. You're right.
Last month, he signed a letter urging impeached Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas to close immigrant detention centers. He doesn't want those open either. Just one day after a toddler was allegedly murdered by an illegal immigrant right outside his district, our immigration system is broken, he said. And his way of fixing it would be to have none, apparently. Everything's upside down, people. Every bleeping thing you can think of, including a judge appointed by Obama who can find no reason constitutionally why now they're going to, like the Minnesota legislature would have me continue to jump through all the hoops they keep inventing for gun ownership.
Okay.
Because I'm responsible.
We've got laws already.
But
responsible people are following the law.
But here comes a judge in Chicago who said, no, if you're illegal and you haven't even committed a violent act, you ought to be able to hang on. You ought to be able to have a gun. Yes, did you have something?
Well, I was just going to say, it in regards to all of the vast illegal immigration in this country, we've asked, well, what does this represent? What is this all about? Why would they allow this to happen? Obviously, it's a big part of this is vote buying and things of that nature. But isn't there something much grander? I heard a theory floated that just in the state of California alone, they're just seeing a mass exodus of people. Well, those people need to be replaced. Otherwise, they're going to lose congressional seats. Does that make any
Are
sense?
you talking about the great replacement theory?
That's, I guess, what I'm trying to float out there, but I don't want to be the tinfoil hat guy, even though I guess on this show I kind of am.
Yes, you are.
But that makes a ton of sense, doesn't it?
Sure, why not?
Okay. Noted.
Dismissed it. Yep.
In this day and age, yeah.
I mean,
What were you going to say, Johnny?
The Ismail Muhammad story. Did
Yeah.
we know? Maybe you mentioned this and I missed it? Did you know he's the incumbent already?
Oh, he
He
is?
was, he was elected in 2022,
Oh, I did not
so
know
he's
that.
running for the same office
Yeah, and he's
that he-
hanging on to it.
that he now holds. Well, he
So
won the
he-
primary, yeah. So he'll probably win. Obviously,
So-
the general.
He basically is the Ilhan Omar of Ohio.
Yeah,
That's
he was
fair.
He was elected easily in 2022 to that seat.
Remember, Ilhan said she wanted to use the power of the federal government to act on behalf of Somalia.
Right.
So we
got that going for us.
you know, you
This-
live in Wichita and you own a gas station. I don't think anybody's really looking out for you.
No.
You know,
What were you gonna say?
you're on your own.
you're done.
What were you going to say, Kenny?
The world is up. No, the world is not Norm Macdonald.
Kenny,
Flores.
What does Norm Macdonald say in the joke?
I don't know. The world is not even. The
Yeah.
earth is uneven.
Right, whatever it is.
This Illinois case, Chicago, this Flores was arrested in 2020. He violated this federal law that prohibits non-citizens from possessing guns. He also violated the state law where if you want a permit to carry, you need something outrageous like 60 hours, or was it 16 hours of training in order to carry in Illinois. But precedent was set. This judge and the guy's defense team must be remarkable because they brought up what happened in New York. This has already happened in New York. So this is not new.
I did not know that.
Yeah, neither did I. And I find that extra disturbing. And the character says he bought this because of the civil unrest at the time.
Hmm.
And it just happened to be nabbed for something else and he was carrying, so he broke two laws there.
Let's turn to the state of Texas on the same theme. I'm reading from a site called the Federation for American Immigration Reform. Since Biden took office, over 8.5 million immigrants have been encountered at the nation's borders, with an additional estimated 1.8 million gotaways evading the Customs and Border Protection. The Texas border comprises almost half of the entire U.S.-Mexico border, stretching 1,254 miles across 4 Mexican states. Millions of immigrants have entered the country through one of Texas's 5 border patrol sectors. As a result, the Lone Star State's diverse environment, divided into 10 ecoregions, has gradually transformed into a dumping ground for immigrants' waste. In 2021, the Bureau of Land Management released data estimating that each immigrant leaves behind 6 to 8 pounds of garbage at the southern border. It's kind of today's environmental statistic, isn't it? With illegal immigration on the rise, the levels of environmental degradation are expected to increase. Currently, millions of pounds of garbage litter the southern border. Texas ranchers, law enforcement, and lawmakers are exasperated with the state of their border. Aerial drone footage vividly illustrates how uncontrolled illegal immigration can rapidly transform desert landscapes into wastelands strewn with feces, discarded clothing, food, chemicals, drug paraphernalia, and even abandoned vehicles. Currently, migrants breaching Texas razor wire have developed a habit of using clothing and trash to pad themselves against the barrier. Once through, they abandon their belongings. Some of those garbage heaps have grown so large that they have earned nicknames, such as the Mattress, located just outside Brownsville. I can keep reading. The point I intend to make is, where's John Kerry? John Kerry is arguing that Russia should conduct a gentler war.
Is he maybe fighting for us somewhere in another country?
I don't know what he's doing now, but Kerry, who was the climate czar, which was absurd, has insisted, he said it more than once, that if Russia could conduct a more gentle war, there wouldn't be as much
Outrage.
carbon emissions.
Yeah.
Well, where is Border and the rest of you hysterian freaks when it comes to the degradation and ruin of the Texas border area and the wildlife and the vegetation and what have you. Where are you? Everything's upside down. Nothing makes sense.
They would be there if there was a planned pipeline to go through. Otherwise, they don't care
Nice
about
call.
the earth, environment, trash like this. They also don't seem to care about waters and rivers and lakes. To me, it seems like they're mostly, their big concern is the environment, the air, the climate, the weather.
Here's just one story from Presnell Cage. Doesn't that sound like the name of a rancher? Presnell.
Yes.
He's a rancher from Brooks County, Texas. He's had to assign his cowboys to trash duty to address the hundreds of pounds of litter left by migrants. Additionally, Cage grapples with a drug trafficking problem on his ranch. He recounted a recent incident to The Guardian, stating, "A few months ago, while building a fence, we witnessed a group of individuals dropping 250 pounds of marijuana." Cattle rancher Louis Valderrama, based in Eagle Pass, Texas, has witnessed his cows succumb to illness after ingesting trash left by migrants. His ranch, situated along the Rio Grande, is strewn with debris, which he attributes to the Biden administration's catch and release policy. He said if immigrants knew that they wouldn't be released and would instead go to a detention camp, waiting for a hearing, spending 6 months to a year in a camp, they would likely reconsider coming here. Everything's upside down, people. I don't know what's going on, but it's getting, and yet you're not getting a sense of the upside downness from conventional news gatherers. They still are reporting on puppies that learn new tricks, and
I saw a news story today that Subway is changing from Coca-Cola to Pepsi.
And I saw a story last night. For which I was given zero credit, absolutely no credit. An outfit in St. Cloud has created individual dwellings inside a larger building for the homeless to live. That's what I wanted Walls to do with his fruit warehouse that he used our money to buy. I said, let's make dorm rooms in there. Well, that's what they're doing in St. Cloud. I received no credit.
None?
None.
You would have probably numbered the
Oh,
rooms
I'm not
wrong.
done. I'm not done with the upside down. Get your